to hear this lonely feeling. It cuts me deep because I need you here, darling.
What's good, YouTube? I am so excited today. Today is an amazing day. Not only is it the Super Bowl, for those of you that are tuning in, we thank you off top because I know the game is on and you could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here walking with us, and we thank you for that. And because of that, this episode is for you. So if you got your questions, drop them in the chat. Today, I want to introduce you to Charles Shirer, BSD Bandit on Twitter. He does Twitch live streams called Hack the Planet, where he does live stream hacking. He has a podcast called The Grumpy Hackers. He is a senior security consultant, and he does red team threat hacking. We're going to get to the nitty gritty. But before we do, what's good, Charles?
Man, I'm feeling good. Thanks for having me on tonight. I'm super amped.
Hey, before we even get started, can I get that yip yip?
Oh, you know it. Yip yip all day.
All day. Charles is in the building. Look, for those of you that may not follow him on Twitter, every day he's faithfully energized, pumped, sharing love on Twitter, motivating hackers around the world to get up and be great. And he's inspired me numerous days all the time. So this is really a interview that I've been looking forward to since I asked him to do it. You know what I mean? Because his energy is electrifying. So getting right to it, bro.
All right.
What is hacking?
What do you want to know?
I want to know what is hacking. Because everybody talks about it, but I have no clue what it is.
All right. Well, the true definition of hacking is just more so pretty much making a technology. It doesn't have to be computers only. It could be phone systems. It can be hardware. It could be anything. Pushing it beyond its limits for what it was designed to do. So a lot of folks, when they see hacking, they think of like the movies where it's just only computers. But even before there were computers, there were phone hackers. There were railroad train set hackers. I mean, anything that you can think of, you can hack it. Even with video games, even though it's kind of linked to computers, but pretty much that's like the real first hack for me was video game systems. So yeah, it's a combination of pretty much anything. You see something, you don't like the way it is, you change it. And you make it do things that it was never designed to do. That's the fun part about hacking in general.
I love that definition. I love that. Have you ever read the book Ghost in the Wires by Kevin Mitnick?
Yeah, I read the book, and he actually signed the book, too. I met him in person. Yeah. This was years ago at this security conference called DerbyCon. He actually signed the book for me, so that was pretty cool.
That's dope. For those of you that do not know about Ghost in the Wires, I recommend you check that book out. When he talks about hacking can be anything like phone systems, we're talking the original analog phone systems. I still to this day don't know how he did some of the things he did in that book.
It's nothing short of amazing. Also, when you talk about phones and hacking, you got to talk to the 2600 Club. The 2600 Club, the Hacker Quarterly, shout out to them. Also in their like IRC chat and their Facebook group. So I learned a lot from those guys as well too. So guys and gals. So It's a combination of both.
Nice, nice. So I saw that you have been in IT for about what, 15 years, something like that.
Phew, almost like pretty much 18.
18. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a long time. You said like 2001. Well, oh my God, 20. Excuse me. I keep thinking like I forgot it's 2021. So yeah, 20 years in IT, y'all. Woo! I made it
In the building.
I feel like it. So for 20 years, I started out just learning the basics, really the basics of networking. The first book that I read was Networking Complete. It was a book for like $20. And it taught me the basics of routing, switching, IP subnetting. I mean, learning what an IP address is, the different like subnets in general, how packets are formed, all that in a book for $20.
Right.
And at that time, you didn't have like all the virtualization software that you do now. Like you actually had to buy like Cisco switches off of eBay if you wanted to learn Cisco,
right?
Or Juniper switches off of eBay
right.
if you wanted to learn whatever it is that you want to learn. eBay had it for you, you know. But at that time when I first started out, it was just like pure networking and learning just like Unix in general. So I kind of started backwards. I did a little bit of Windows, but I focused my energy more on the Unix/Linux side of the house.
Nice.
And then worked my way back to learning Windows.
So that's like two key pieces that I want to touch on in this interview. If you all have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat as we're moving through this interview. But the first thing I want to talk about is networking. When it comes to being a hacker, how important is networking as a skill set?
Networking is everything, okay? Because here's the thing. Without networking, it's nothing you can really do. Networking, TCP/IP is the fundamental protocol of the internet. And not understanding it means that you're not going to be able to hack very much. Unless you're just completely isolated. Now, if you're doing hardware hacking, yeah, there you go, because you're confined to that space.
Right.
But if you're trying to do any type of network hacking, you don't understand networking, you can forget about it. You're pretty much dead in the water. So I would recommend, if you want to start hacking, pick up a book on networking. You can even use the book that I really learned, the TCP/IP protocol suite, was networking. I think it was called it was like Networking Complete. No, TCP/IP Illustrated. Okay. They had three different volumes: Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. So TCP/IP Illustrated, they had like the implementation part. Then they had like the more of the internals of TCP/IP, and then I think they had a third volume, but it was related to like the BSD TCP/IP stack, which is what macOS uses to this day.
Okay. So speaking of BSD,
yeah.
we talked about networking being a foundation of hacking, right? Something that you need to know. Now, when we get into Linux, Unix, how important is that?
Well, that's important. So, for example, if you want to get into hacking, right? Because hacking is a combination of all types of systems. You're going to run into all different types of systems. So not only is Unix and Linux important, it's important to understand Windows as well, too. Because we, like it or not, we work in corporate America is 90%, really. Well, I'll say 85% is really Windows. When you're running into a corporate network, in a big time network, a lot of them are running Windows 10 clients with connecting back to the Active Directory services. And then, of course, using Office 365. And then you have probably your Linux and Unix machines in the background for like developers or using specific open source software as well on the network. So you're running into a combination of different operating systems. So they're all important to an extent,
Okay, so for somebody that's just getting started in hacking, where would they start? Would they start with the networking? Would they start with Linux, Windows? What would you recommend?
I personally, nowadays, I would personally recommend that if they want to get into just hacking in general, pick something that you're interested in and start there. So it used to be, networking and operating systems, but now, so if you're a web developer, right? I would start with, if I was a web developer right now, and that's all I knew is web development, I'd start learning how to hack web applications. I'd focus strictly on that, because that's going to lead to different things down the road.
Right.
You know? But I recommend anybody starting with what they're interested in. If you're interested in wireless, learn as much as you can about wireless and see what you could do security-wise. Like, see if you could bypass or crack wireless encryption, or, you know, play around with Bluetooth and see if you could bypass some of the security measures. Play around with, like, pretty much like IoT devices now, you know, or key fobs. I mean, that's all related to wireless and sensors and everything else. I call IoT devices the stuffed bell pepper. The reason I call it that is this. I call it that because with IoT, you have a combination of everything. You have a combination of a web application.
Right.
You have a combination of wireless. You have a combination of sensors. It also does networking. So you have those four things that you can kind of play around with if you're interested, you know?
Right.
So it's kind of like an all-in-one package deal.
I got another question, but I want to get to the chat real quick.
Yeah.
Buddy Marv asked the name of the Ghosting in the Wire book. I put it in the chat. It's Ghosting in the Wire by Kevin Mitnick. Put that in the chat, as well as the TCP/IP illustrated book. Put that in the chat as well. Now the question from, I believe it's Tai Kwan. It says, "What's your thought on certs? I guess for hackers. What's your thought on that?"
Certs. I'd recommend, if you want to get into hacking, like, so I'll break down the certs. So certs are great. They give you a foundation, but it's not the end all be all. So for example, if someone wanted to get into penetration testing, right?
Right.
First off, I'd say go get your Security Plus. And I would also say look at like Certified Ethical Hacker, just to kind of get your feet wet with the foundation, like as far as like with terms and buzzwords, right?
Right.
And when you want to do like the real hands-on stuff, that's when you look at the offensive security certs or e-learn security certifications. Offensive security and e-learn are 100% hands-on penetration testing, reverse engineering certifications. Like, you actually have to hack into the boxes in order, and write a report on it in order to actually pass the exam and get your certification. That is the exam. It's no multiple choice.
That's deep.
Yeah.
I actually like that because that's showing that you have the applied knowledge. I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what attracted me to the certification. So the first certification that I took for like the hands-on one was the OSWP. It was the Offensive Security Wireless. And you can look at all these certifications at offensivesecurity.com.
Okay.
And with the wireless, I think it was like 6 hours at the time, 6 or 4 hours, right? And you had to hack into the wireless, right? You had to crack encryption, and you had to do several other things related to wireless. I'm not trying to give everything away, but and it's probably changed by now, but this was back in 2014 that I took it. But you had to crack like WPA2, you had to do client-side wireless attacks. So there were different things, and this was all like 100% hands-on. They had you log into their lab where they had wireless APs in the background, and of course the client-side wireless cards, and you did your attacks from their Kali Linux VM.
That's dope. That's dope. I put that. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, and I was about to say, and with the OSCP, when we were talking about networking earlier, that's more so, it's a combination of everything. So you're doing like network pen, you're also doing like a combination of web and exploit development, like buffer overflows, right? So the cool part about it does have labs. So you have like over 60 boxes that you can practice your attacks on before you even get to the exam. Like, you start out, I think, with like 30 days of lab time. And if you need to extend, you can.
Nice.
And not only do you need to know the labs, you could go through the course material and the videos, but you have to do extra research on your own as well, too. So you really earn that certification, Right.
So, okay, so I put the link to the offensivesecurity.com.
Yeah.
And so you're saying that all the certifications that you mentioned can be found there?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, the OSWP, the OSCP. The one that I'm currently studying for now is the OSCE, and that's dealing with Windows exploit development.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm spending some time with Windows internals and x86 assembly.
Okay, so is this going to be Windows desktop or is it Azure, like cloud-based as well?
Well, for this one, it's going to just more so just the Windows client.
Okay.
In general, you're just what you're doing, you're actually creating your own exploits from scratch and just getting them to run on the Windows box. Because like with pen testing, you're doing like AV evasion. So you're bypassing AV. You're also, they have some advanced like web application attacks as well in the course.
Right.
But you're doing a combination of that, backdooring PE files. So these are things that you're doing within the OSCE. So that's what I've been working on for like a couple of weeks now.
Nice. You gonna knock that out too, bro. You got this.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. I like it because I'm enjoying the process, the journey. The certification is just the prize.
True story. I like that mindset. Can you say that again for those in the back?
I am enjoying the journey, but the certification is just the prize. That's it.
Yes, sir. Now, I got a question before I get to some more questions in the chat. You're a red team hacker.
Yes. I'll explain the difference between red teaming and it's both hacking, but it's just different ways of going about it. So there's red teaming and there's penetration testing, right? So the difference between the two. So when you're on an engagement, they say, hey, a company says, hey, we want you to do a penetration test, right? They already have something set up for you where you're going to be pen testing and attacking, right? They have an environment already laid out for you.
Right.
So you're knocking on things. You're actually constantly scanning. You're attacking systems because they know that you're there, right? Now, with red teaming, it's more strategic. It's more seeing if you can get caught by the blue team or the defensive security that you have in place. You're testing the defenses from an external point of view. And this is where phishing comes in. Phishing is a big part of red teaming. So you're doing phishing exercises to see if you could get like pretty much the average user that's sitting in a network to kind of click on the link to see if you can gain access to the network that way. And seeing if you can actually bypass. This is why bypassing like AV and Windows Defender mechanisms are important. Because it's just testing the defenses to see if you have a blue team on staff, see if they can actually catch you in the midst of you trying to, like, say, bypass AV, or if you're setting off logs and everything else. So it's a great exercise. So that's the difference between the two.
That's interesting.
They're both hacking. It's just more strategic on the red team side. Like, you're not going to burn an exploit if you know it's going to set off an alarm in the red team. In the pen test, you don't care if you burn an exploit because it's, they already know that you're there. They know that you're attacking the network.
Okay. So the difference between the two is that pen test is a known test and the red team is kind of like a covert test. You're really
the adversary. Yeah, you're really like, you ever seen the movie the show Mr. Robot?
Yep.
It's more so like when he was trying to break I forgot the guy's name, out of jail or whatnot, and he was doing all the like preparation, everything. Right. That's more so like red teaming.
Okay. So
yeah,
are companies hiring you for this red team or?
Yes, they hired for the red team, and then go say, hey, we want to do some red team exercises. Okay, here's some phishing exercises that we want you to do, and same thing. Once you get in, see if you can bypass our defenses. They kind of give you a lay of the land,
right? What
you're going to be doing before you actually do it, because you gotta get permission, people, to do this stuff. Can't just be like, oh, I'm about to get into this, and oh no.
Hey, that's what
I want to put that disclaimer out there.
That's what I was going to ask you, because you mentioned for those that want to learn, see if you can hack YouTube.
No.
I just want to clarify for people that may be watching this. When you're learning to hack and you want to do, I guess red team would be offensive.
Yes. It's all offensive. Red teaming and penetration testing is offensive.
Okay, so if you want to learn offensive, how do you do that safely without the feds coming to your house or whatever?
I'm glad you asked that question. So there's a site if you want to sign up, and this is like totally legal, called hackthebox.eu, right? And with Hack the Box, the cool part about it, it has 100%. It has and it's free too, by the way. It's free. So I'm gonna put it in our chat as well too. So
Okay,
there you go. Got it? Yeah. So with Hack the Box, it's like penetration testing labs, and you're actually like hacking into the systems. And it's all legit. It's all legal. They put up boxes and everything else. So if you want to practice your hacking skills, you can hone it there. And once the boxes are retired, the cool part about it, each box has a certain amount of points, has different points. Like if you gain access to just a regular user account, that's I think probably like 5 or 10 points, depending on the difficulty of the box. And then if you gain root or admin access, that's another set of points. So it's different flags that you get: a user flag and an admin flag or root flag. And then you get the points that way. But it's real fun. You could do it in teams. You have different teams that you can be on or whatnot, and actually just do like capture the flag. But it's a lot of legit stuff that you can actually do in there safely without anybody coming after you. Another option is going to like Bug Crowd or HackerOne, because they have like bug bounties, and mostly security researchers usually use bug bounty programs. But if you feel you want to try that as well, you can, and see what you can learn.
All right, I'm putting them in the chat now. Now,
yeah,
when we talk about the Hacker Box, is that in a container, like in the cloud, or is that something you got to download on your system, like in a VM?
No, that's all in the cloud. Like, only thing you download, say you have like Kali Linux, right?
Right.
You have your Kali Linux in your VM. The only thing you're downloading is the OpenVPN client.
Okay.
The VPN into the network, and then you're hacking from there.
Okay, just to get on the network to be able to hack whatever resources they got available on that network. Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
And they give you a list of boxes that are online and everything else. And if you need to revert a box, you can do that as well too. So you can reset it to where that way the box is fresh. It still has the vulnerabilities that you have to find,
right? But
you can just reset the box. If say if it gets locked up, or anything can happen, because these are all VMs, by the way. So
right. Okay.
Yeah, you can do some cool stuff. Oh, also I want to point out VulnHub. If you don't want to like download the OpenVPN client and everything else for Hack the Box, there's a site called vulnhub.com, and they actually have images, like virtual machine images, that you could download to your laptop and open up and say like VMware or VirtualBox, and you could do your hacking from there internally offline, where you don't have to be in a VPN for Hack the Box. That's another option as well too.
Nice. We're gonna talk about that. I got a super chat from Network Bruh. Thank you for the super chat, bro. His question is, and shout out to Network Bruh, for those of you that are working on your CCNA, CCNP, go follow him. He does live labs and breaks down a lot of the content that's on those Cisco certifications. Much love to Network Bruh. Now, his question is, you may have answered this already, but what movie or show, in your opinion, has the most accurate depiction of hacking?
Mr. Robot. First season.
That was the best season, man.
Yeah. That's it. Because those are live hacks that hackers actually worked in the background on the production scene. Those live hacks that you've seen with Kali Linux and everything else, those are actual attacks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, since you brought that up, how often is it for hackers to leave USBs in the parking lot for people to
Oh man, that could be added to the movie or whatnot, but some people will probably do that. They call it salting. So they probably do some type of salting just to see what they can do from that end, but under normal circumstances you won't see that a lot. But that's for the the show purposes though. But there are some people that would actually try to do that. So you'd be surprised what people pick up.
Nice. I got another super chat from my brother Gabe. Appreciate you, bro.
Okay.
Thank you. He says salute. Now here's a question, and this was from Tai Quan Gong. When do you call yourself a hacker? Like, at what point are you a hacker?
Well, hacking is no set point. It's just a mindset.
Hmm.
It's something other people call you hacker. It's not something that you really, it's like a mindset that you adopt. So for example, this is something like, we'll go back to the first video game, right? The first video game that I got to hack was with Dragon Ball Z on the Super Nintendo. So with Super Nintendo, they had a Super Nintendo and they had a Super Famicom. Right? The Super Famicom was the Japanese version of Super Nintendo, which came out first, but it was a little bit smaller than the original Super Nintendo, right? So I wanted to play like the Dragon Ball Z games, because it was a game, Dragon Ball Z, that came out for Super Famicom, and I wanted to play it on Super Nintendo. So we got our hands on, me and a couple of my friends that I grew up with, we got our hands on the Dragon Ball Z game for Super Famicom, and we brought it back to the house, and we were trying to put it into the Super Nintendo cartridge slot, but it wouldn't fit. So we was like, okay, what are we missing here? And then sure enough, took some pliers. I saw these two, they were like two little slots, and you could pull those slots up.
Right.
Once you pull those slots up, I was able to fit the game into the Super Nintendo and power it on, and was able to play Dragon Ball Z. Now I couldn't read anything, far as unless you understood Japanese, I couldn't read anything.
Right.
But I had fun playing the game.
Right.
So that was like the first official hack. But those two slots kept Japanese games from being played on the American Super Nintendo.
And that goes back to your original definition of hacking.
Right. Bypassing the security mechanisms. It don't even have to be computers or networking. It could be anything. Shoot, social engineering. That's a form of hacking.
Yep.
So these are just things like, nobody really calls you a hacker. It's more so a mindset. It's a mindset that says, you know what? I know there's obstacles in front of me, but I'm going to do everything that I possibly can, learn as much as I can about the obstacle that's in front of me, so I could be able to overcome it or bypass it. No different than anything else. When you're troubleshooting software and something is just not working right, you're going to keep playing around with it until you figure it out. That's all hacking is. Yeah. It's like a puzzle. You're going to keep trying to fit the pieces together till you eventually put the puzzle together.
Man,
that's all it is.
I think it'd be dope to bring my guy Gabe on, bring you on, and my dude Davin. Like all four of us brothers get on, because I would love to hear you all's different aspect of hacking, because all of you seem to do something different, but you're all hackers. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Hey, set it up. I'm in.
Bet. We're gonna do that too. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna set it up. All right.
Okay.
Let me get to some more of these questions. Here's a question from Femi Olinka, and the question is, how rewarding is hacking versus cloud, for example? So I guess for as long as you've been in IT, how rewarding has hacking been for you compared to the other things that you've done in IT?
Pretty much it's just about the same. Again, it's all a journey. There's no different. It's just all tech. Like I just wanted to get into computers. That's it. Like before you heard about like cybersecurity and all this other stuff, I was just a computer guy. I just enjoyed like building computers and like writing code for computers and then playing with different software. That was it. It just turned into hacking and cybersecurity and all the fun buzzwords that you see now. It just turned into that. But I was always into tech. So it's no different. Like if you want to be a cloud hacker, you can hack in the cloud. If that's what your focus, you want to focus on cloud-based protocols and everything that's happening in the cloud, you can go hack in that space.
Right.
They have something, if you're interested in learning like hacking like the AWS cloud, there's something called Cloud Goat. So Cloud Goat allows you to you have to use your own personal AWS account, and they have like different like scenarios that you can practice with in order to learn the basics of like hacking in like AWS space. So that's pretty cool if you want to learn about that. That's pretty interesting if you want to practice. But again, It could be. Always remember to actually turn off the instance when you're done, because you can get charged. I think after a certain amount of time, you start getting charged if you use the free account. So, yeah, you want to make sure you do that. Speaking from experience, so you definitely want to do that. You don't want to wake up like, oh shoot, where's all this coming from?
Exactly.
And yeah, there you go.
It only takes one time to get burnt like that.
That's it. Experience, the best teacher.
Man. That's funny. All right, so I got a question here from Buddy Marv. And
okay.
I think this is a valid question. Marv says that they got their Security Plus over 15 years ago. How much has the material changed? They want to know if they should start back from there or just keep going forward.
If you already have your Security Plus, keep going forward. What you took, like I took Network Plus back in 2005, but I just kept going forward.
Right.
You know, it's no point in going back and taking the same certification to keep up to date when there's other stuff out there that you can actually get into or get certified in.
Right.
Like your level of certs is like your track record, you know? And again, it's not all about certs. It's all about what you're learning. The certs just give you a foundation to like, if like the OSCP, for example, right? That's an entry level. Yeah, you could say entry level, even though it may seem tougher, you know, with it being 100% hands-on, but it gives you the base foundation of what being a penetration tester is like and what it's like to be actually on a pen test engagement in a way, you know? So, but you still have to build from that. You can't just say, oh, I got the OSCP and I'm done. No, it's the beginning. Because it's so everything changes at a rapid pace that you just got to figure out what you want to do next.
Right. Hey, I appreciate all the moderators that are holding down the chat. Keep it techie. Network Bruh. Gifted Lane. My cousin Dale. Gabe. We appreciate you all. I got a question here from Eric Johnson. And his question is, what's your thoughts on SANS, the SANS certifications for hacking?
SANS are good if you can afford them. They're very expensive. Now, if you have somebody that's actually paying for the training, have at it. Take it. It's more knowledge.
Right.
That's all it is. It's just an extra notch. It's more knowledge. So any certification is pretty good. It just gives you a foundation in the base. And you know, if you got a chance to get like a free SANS certification, go ahead and take that course. Learn something new. Add it to your resume. As far as like your resume of knowledge, not a piece of paper.
Right.
It's all about what's up here. A piece of paper is just a piece of paper. It's all what you got up here, what you can put down on the piece of paper.
So, as a network engineer, and I'm going to ask you this question. As a network engineer, you can have the experience, you can have the skills, but oftentimes in order to validate how much you should get paid, a certification helps with that. Is it the same in security?
Yeah, it's the same as security. Like, with security, it's about experience, what you've done, and the certifications just add to it. It helps. It doesn't hurt. It only helps.
Okay.
But it's not the end all be all. That's the thing. I think a lot of folks, they put so much emphasis on, well, I got the certification, now I should be getting paid this. Okay. Not necessarily so. Okay, you got the certification, that's good. You're dedicated. You're committed to that particular area of tech that you got the certification in. But what do you have experience-wise? What are you doing outside? You know, I will give you this tip. The new resume is Twitch. The new resume is GitHub if you're a developer. If you're a developer and you're trying to get a job as a developer, put your code up on GitHub.
Yeah. That's
your resume. Yeah, you got your piece of paper, what you got to submit it through HR because they got to check the bots off. But put your code. If I'm a developer and I'm looking for a job as a developer, I'm going to have my GitHub all over the place. What projects I've been working on, what projects I'm currently working on, you know, and what I've completed. That's your resume. What Twitch streams are you a part of? Did you start your own Twitch stream? That's important because it shows that you're dedicated to your craft and it shows that you know what you're doing because you're actually seeing it live on video.
That's interesting. That's real interesting. the Twitch community for somebody that's trying to get started.
Yeah.
Do you find that live hacking, live learning helps you stay on track, help you stay focused, or what's your thoughts on it? Like, how do you, because for me, when I try to live lab, right, I find myself being more distracted than if I'm just going in there by myself and taking that time to do that. So what's your thoughts on how to stay focused for that?
I think it just depends on what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to learn something, you're trying to work something out, and somebody wants to sit on the stream with you, because sometimes, and I used to do, and I want to get back to this as well too, because like I said, I've done, like I told you earlier, I did a little bit of threat hunting,
right?
And I used to do blue Saturdays. So blue Saturdays, I was trying to like install like different like a SIM or like a logging tool or whatever else live. And trust me, I've ran into all kinds of issues, compile areas, everything. And people in the chat actually helped me get through that.
True. Yep.
You see what I'm getting at? So what you might not be thinking about, you might look in the chat and say, hey, try this. They're actually helping you work the problem as well, too.
That's true.
So that's why I say doing it live is good, too. And then you can always go back to that video for reference.
Yep.
If you save the video, you can go back to that for reference. Or if you have a blog. I use my blog for like note taking, even though I gotta update it and add some more stuff to it, Lord. But it's more like for like note taking. So if you forget how to install something, like, wait a minute, I did this like a couple of months ago. Boom, go back to your blog, and there's the steps right there for you.
Yep.
It's like your internet notepad.
Hey, you mentioned GitHub, and so for me, what I've been doing is saving most of my notes on my GitHub. You know, I've really been focused on learning Markdown, which it's pretty simple, but to take really good notes, really good documentation. And so I'm putting my notes now on my GitHub, the code that I'm learning, I'm putting my code samples there. So like you said, now you got a point of reference when you want to share your notes. And then also when you're applying for jobs, they can see what you're learning, see what you're doing, and see that you're serious when you're applying for whatever position you want to go for.
Exactly. And also, you know, another good note taking thing that I've been playing around with?
What's that?
We're using Notion.so.
My guy told me about that last he told me, Aaron, I don't know if you know Aaron. Hold on, let me put go ahead, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, bro.
No, that was the thing. Notion.so. Like, I put a lot of notes in there as well too, and it's tied to your Google account.
Okay.
And you can have it as an app on your phone, because I have it as an app on my phone. So whatever you type in on your phone or whatever, or in the cloud, it syncs to your phone. So if you need to look up something real quick, you just fire up your Notion app, and it's already synchronized to your application, you know, to your notepad in the cloud. And it's pretty simple. I'm show you an example.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Like for Notion. Yeah, so like for example, I got my like you see like my web application shoot, if I'm saying it right. Yeah, there we go. Like it's on my phone, like web application challenges or whatnot that I put in my notes. So yeah, I have it synced to my phone.
Okay.
But it's pretty cool stuff that you can do.
I used to use OneNote. Comparing it,
OneNote's good too.
Yeah, but what I found for OneNote, when I started coding, it wasn't good for code samples, and it used to just frustrate me putting my code into OneNote. So I'm like, you know what, this is not going to work. So I started using Markdown, and ever since I'm like, yo, this is the way to go. Yeah.
You know what I liked for coding now, and that I've used?
What's that?
Well, I'm a huge like VI person, right?
Oh, Vim and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I use VS Code.
Yeah, me too. Of course.
VS Code is great. I didn't think I was gonna like it at first, but then I tried it, and then I was trying like different things. I was like, oh, this is the way to go right here,
bro. So
I've been using VS Code for a while now.
VS Code. So when I started learning Python, I started with PyCharm. And I like PyCharm, but PyCharm is real loaded. It's heavy, man.
Yeah.
And so
it's like Eclipse.
Yeah. It's like exactly. It's like, man, this takes forever. I'm tired of this. And so somebody
Yep.
was like, switch to VS Code. And I'm like, what? No. Microsoft? No. So I downloaded it and I'm like, yo, this is lightweight. It does what it's supposed to. It's fast. It integrates with everything. Even containers. You can run your containers right in VS Code. It's dope.
Exactly. So I love it. Yeah. So that's what I've been using, like far as like with writing code, especially with Rust. It has the Rust plugins and everything. So yeah, I like that.
Man, that's what's up, bro. That's what's up. Yeah. I switched to VS Code and now I switched to Markdown because I was uploading my notes, my OneNotes to GitHub, and you can't read it on GitHub. So as soon as I switched to Markdown, I'm like, yo, we good. And then now I discovered the wiki, like doing a wiki on GitHub. Have you did that before?
Okay. I haven't done it before. I know a couple people that have done it though. They say they love it.
Yeah, you can create your entire wiki notes in GitHub. It's fire.
Okay.
That's what's up. Let me get to some of these questions.
Yeah.
All right. So Buddy Marv got another question. This question is it true government will require backdoor access when developing software, and how do I donate? Oh, donate. Yeah, you can donate super chat or you can buy a coffee.
This is a question for you.
No, but the question is for you. How do you require? Does the government require backdoor access for software?
I don't know. Personally, I don't know if they do. I guess it depends on the agency. I doubt it though, but yeah. Backdoor just sounds bad.
It does.
In government.
It does.
So I don't know. Backdoor might scare. They might have another word for it, but yeah, the backdoor government. Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny, man. When it comes to government jobs,
yeah,
what certification do you recommend for that?
So they have some. I think it's like the 8570. They have a list called I think it's like the 8570 list, right?
Yeah.
So if you're gonna like get in, try to get your foot into the government, put your foot in the door with the government, definitely get your Security Plus and ECEH.
Okay.
If you want to go to pentest route, but make sure please have your Security Plus as a start, and I would say Network Plus.
And Network Plus.
Network and Security Plus, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As if you want to get your start in say the government, and it might be at the help desk or whatnot, but yeah, make sure you have those 2 certs before you even step foot.
Okay, yeah, it's the DOD 8570.
Yeah.
And I'll put that in.
Yep, 8570, yes.
Yep. It's got a whole bunch of certifications that qualify for it, but Security Plus is like that baseline.
Yeah, it's that baseline. And also too, you want to make sure you're clearable.
That was my next question. That was my next question.
Yeah. And
I'm gonna tie it back to security in general. Mm-hmm. When being in security, do you have to have a security clearance?
No. You don't. I had a security clearance. I don't have one now, and I'm doing a lot of work in the public, in the public sector, private sector actually. So you don't have to have a security clearance, because there's a lot of security in healthcare and education, and just really just startups in general. So there's so much you can do in security besides government.
Nice. So you don't need a security clearance. That's good to know.
No.
That's good to know. What about in the banking industry? Like if you're hacking in the banking sector, do they check your financial background or something?
Check your financial background. I think you get a public trust clearance or something like that. It's like a public trust.
Okay.
But those are not too hard to get. Those are, if you've been a good boy or girl in your years of life, you're good on a public trust.
Nice.
And nothing too crazy.
Nice. Yo, thanks again for the super chat, Gabe. He says SANS has a diversity cyber academy where if you apply and get accepted, they give you 3 SANS certs for free. Nice. I didn't know that.
Wow. I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah. And Gabe also put the link in the chat, so that's nice.
Perfect. True. I'm learning something tonight. Teach me. Yes. It's a journey.
That's what it's all about.
He said free 99. I got excited.
I got a question from Matthew Womack.
Okay.
And this is a good question. The question is, does AI and machine learning provide any challenges to cybersecurity?
I believe it will. I believe it is already, actually, But it's just like anything else. I mean, it's man-made. So there's going to be mistakes somewhere. There's nothing 100% perfect. So, I mean, time is only going to tell about that. That's just like with the blockchain and everything else. I mean, time is only going to tell when people start focusing more on it. They're going to find ways and whatnot to be able to kind of break down that security eventually. But it's going to take time because it's still relatively like fresh out here. It's relatively new. It's not really tried and true yet. So it remains to be seen in that one.
You brought up a good talking point. When it comes to blockchain, it's tracked. Every transaction is tracked. Everybody can see the transactions. How secure is the blockchain actually? Can it be hacked?
Anything could be hacked. And right now it's pretty secure because I don't think there's many people like actually, actively attacking the blockchain, Most people right now, like for example, Windows. If nobody was attacking Windows, Windows would be the securest operating system, right?
Yeah.
If they were focused on Mac, then of course Mac would have a lot more problems. I mean, it just depends on what's popular at the time. Now, there's probably more blockchain hackers out there today than there was like a week ago, but it just depends on what people focus their energy on. And I just think that, even though anything is hackable, they just, as time goes on, a lot of people do research and they find different ways around the security mechanisms for blockchain or cloud or anything else.
That's interesting. So when it comes to blockchain, do you think it will be integrated within like the network? I don't know if you know anything about that. And what I mean by that, transactions that go across the network, the transactions that go across the firewall or something like that.
So blockchain packets?
Yeah, blockchain packets, for real.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, because even like with now, there's like blockchain databases that some people in their websites, they incorporate, writing their web application logs on the back end to blockchain.
Right.
So I've seen that before. So it wouldn't surprise me if you have like blockchain packets. I mean, I'm just making up that name. I don't know if that's a true name or not. Somebody might have to check that out.
You trademark.
But you never know. It wouldn't surprise me if you start seeing that.
Yeah. And speaking of firewalls, how secure is a firewall in itself?
A firewall, I look at it this way. A firewall is only as good as its administrator and the policies that are put in place, right? So, and it's funny that you mentioned that. So, a while back, remember, I'd say like what? We could say 10 to 15 years ago, right?
Right.
Or the mid 2000s, early mid 2000s, late 2000s, right? The old 2000s decade. Everybody was focused on the perimeter. Everybody had the Pix firewall or Juniper. They had the firewall with all the wells and big bells and whistles.
Right.
They had deep packet and inspection, all this other good stuff, right? But nobody paid attention to the web applications. So when you have someone that can actually click on now you have all your let's say you have all your firewalls in place, everything is locked down perimeter wise, right?
Right.
Like, oh, okay, cool. But then I send a link to a person, an email link to a person that they click on it, and like just say it gives me like access to like through their browser or whatnot, and I'm in the network through their web browser or through an application vulnerability within like say a WordPress site that was internal, but it goes out to the internet. The firewall is not going to catch that. Because think about it, it's going over like port 443.
Right, unless they got deep packet inspection and they're decrypting the packets as they go through the firewall. Yeah. But most places were not doing that. You know, at the time it was all about the perimeter. Yeah. You know, and even with cat cards, a lot of folks, hey,
well, my system accepts a cat card. Is the application still hackable? Yes, because you can still throw weird characters at it to see if it gives you some kind of error. You know, and if you could gain access to the database that way, ball game. And especially if it's a vulnerable version of the database, doesn't matter if you can authenticate through CAC or not.
That's deep, because when you talk about CAC, we're talking about two-factor security. So when we talk about two-factor security, you have like the Google Authenticator, you got your two-factor with your phone authentication with your text, whatever. How secure are those methods?
Again, I would say they're pretty secure.
Okay.
But I mean, anything, like I said, it can be bypassed. There's ways of bypassing it. It just depends on how your configuration is set up when it comes to two-factor. I've seen some bad ones and I've seen some good ones. But, you know, it helps, though. It slows down the attacker. Okay. That's for sure. So I'd recommend getting it.
Right. Yeah, hey,
definitely that.
You better have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
And not have it. Yep. I would definitely recommend putting that in place.
That's what's up. So when it comes to in between the two, when it comes to the text authentication or the Google authentication or Microsoft authentication apps, which one would you recommend?
I mean, it just depends on what your budget allows too. Right. You know, I mean, Authenticator is cool. I mean, Microsoft, they're all good solutions.
Right.
So it's just all how you use them and, you know, what you're paying attention to as well too.
Okay.
If somebody's constantly logging into your device 1,000 different times and the logs are showing up, but you're not reading the logs, then what good is the security? You see what I'm getting at? The logs are just there.
Yeah.
Logs tell you. Look at it this way, and I learned this a long time ago. An error message is a window to an application's soul.
That's deep.
If you know what's going on in the soul, you got it.
So when it comes to hacking, getting those error messages to happen, that's actually information you can use.
Yes.
That's deep.
To take it a step further. So if I throw like a weird, let's say I throw a weird semicolon at a database, right?
Right.
And the database is trying to process a semicolon like, hey, this statement is not here. And it just throws up an error. And then the error comes back to me and say, yeah, MySQL does not understand this. MySQL version 3. Blah, blah, blah. Does not understand this query. Please try again, or something like that. I know it's running MySQL version blah blah blah. Now I'm gonna look at what security vulnerabilities are for that particular example, for that particular version of the database. And another way I look at stuff too, whenever I'm working on like any type of application, this is what I do a lot for applications. So if I'm hacking, I'm on the mailing list for WordPress. Security, you know, they put you on the mailing list. Hey, any security issues? I'm on the WordPress security.
Right.
I'm on my SQL security. Like different errors that might come up in the security mailing list. I just check the mailing list to see if it's vulnerable.
That's deep.
I look right at the mailing list.
That's deep. That's
I'm having a you don't want to use MySQL version 3.0 alpha because the root password is not secure or whatever, for example. And that's in the mailing list. That's not even on Google. You can just look at the mailing list like, oh, it is. Oh, okay, thank you. And then you go back. Yeah. And
that's crazy. Man, hey, you make hacking sound crazy fun. Like
it's and like tech is just fun.
Yeah.
Look, let's look at it this way. We live in a beautiful time, even with amongst all the chaos.
Right.
We live in the age of information at our fingertips. Wherever you want to know, put your hands together, place them on the keyboard, and type what you want. And it will give you back some information. It don't get no sweeter than that. It's like your personal assistant on demand.
Man.
That's it.
True
it's your
story.
personal assistant on demand.
You just really explained something to me, because me writing my code, oftentimes I catch my own errors and I throw whatever
Yeah.
message I want. So now I have to make sure that I'm really doing that, because people like you is gonna take my application and then have me in front of somebody's CEO or CTO like.
Oh my goodness. Hey, we have some fun, man. That's what we do.
That's
you know. I also want to definitely shout these guys out as well too. DPS, depiction. And if you guys are on Discord, definitely if you want to learn some cool stuff, while it was on my brain, I wanted to just put it out there. Check out depiction and Discord. You can sign up and join, and there's different channels for everything for AppSec, and we even do mock interviews.
Nice.
So mock interviews. Shout out to the blind hacker. Mock interviews. Like say if you're preparing for an interview for like say as maybe like a job as a developer or a security person, right? The blind hacker would actually sit with you and go through a mock interview process. So it helps you prepare for the interview and might be some questions that you might ask and help you get better during your interview process.
That's dope.
So we do a lot of different things in DPS and depiction. And also check out Detections podcast, where we talk about a lot of defensive stuff. Blue Team, Understudy, Exile. Shout out to those guys.
All right, I put the DevSecOps website in the,
Detections podcast. Detections is I'll send that to you right now.
All right,
actually,
cool.
It popped in my head. Yeah, I have a habit. When something pops up in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, let me just say it and get it out there while it's there. Boom.
All good.
It's like a packet.
Hey.
There you go.
Hey, what'd you say? A blockchain packet?
Yeah, blockchain packet. Boom. There you go. Boom. Get it out there. It's on the network now, y'all.
All day. Cool. So we got a question from Keep It Techie. Thanks for the super chat, bro. Y'all, if you want to learn Linux, if you're trying to get up to speed with the latest in Linux, like the different tools, distros, Keep It Techie walks you through that, shares a ton of knowledge, so y'all go check him out. His question for you, Charles, is what are your thoughts on online privacy?
Online privacy? There is none. There is none. There is no online privacy. Okay,
so let's break this down. You can't just say that. Let's break this down. and let's start here. I know hackers that, or people that, let's say, start hacking, or people that I know that all of a sudden just kind of go dark on the internet. They kind of remove their name from the internet, and they don't want their face shown on the internet. Is that secure? Is that something hackers do? And is that something that if you are in hacking, you should do?
There's hackers that try to do that, but here's the thing, and you got the age-old question, and my grandmother always used to say this: if you ain't doing that, you ain't got nothing to worry about. So, I mean, we get that idea from movies, right? We get that idea from movies that we see hackers trying to hide their identity. They're breaking into the firewalls of banks. But here's the thing. There's nothing that cannot be found. The internet gets archived. If you go to archive.org, I can go back and find websites that were up in 1998. And I'm talking about network.box.sk, all that archive data. I can go back to archive.org and pull that up. Even with chats and everything else. AIM, AOL. That's it's all there. There's nothing that you can hide from the internet. You know, a technique called OSINT, and I do a lot of OSINT. So it's like investigations with open source tools, right? You definitely want to check out OSINT. It's an awesome book if you want to learn it, by Michael Bazel. Hope I'm saying it right. And it shows you the tools and techniques that you need if you want to do like investigations, right?
Okay.
So I'm gathering that link for you right now. Intel Techniques. Here we go. This is the book. I'm gonna throw it in our chat, and then you can put it out into the chat for our audience. There you go. This book right here. If you want to learn like the privacy, security, internet, like things that you want to find, like techniques, like say, like if you want to find like maps or phone numbers or just information that's publicly available. So it's open source intelligence gathering techniques, right?
Right.
And you're just using free open source tools, free websites to gather information about a particular target that's out there on the internet for public consumption. But it's good things to you can learn about some cool stuff as well too. And I recommend that book if you want to get into like the whole like privacy consulting and digital footprints and everything else. I would definitely start with OSINT.
Okay.
But to me personally, there's nothing that cannot be found unless you literally haven't logged in or put anything up on the internet. But the social media game is a breeding ground.
Uh-oh.
For all the information that you need.
Okay. Looks like we might be having trouble with the stream. I put the Intel techniques in the chat.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, there we go.
we back up and running?
Yeah. Looks like it.
All right. Man.
Yeah. I believe we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good. If we're good,
Yeah.
y'all let me know in the chat. Looks like we are.
Are we good? Yeah. I guess so. So
all right, it's good now. Cool. All right, thanks, y'all.
But yeah, so definitely check out those techniques. I think that will help you get started if you want to learn about like, finding out like if you want to do like background investigation. Not saying don't pick out targets and start stalking people. That's never a good idea. That can end badly.
Right.
But you can find a lot of interesting information about a specific target on the internet using those particular techniques. That's what I will say. Right. And that's why I say nothing is ever really private, because there's a lot of stuff out there that you can find.
I got a question, but I got a super chat I want to get to real quick. This is from Citizen Lou. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Mm-hmm. This question is, and I think you kind of covered this, but if you can cover it again for those that are just tuning in.
Yeah.
I said,
definitely.
What are some good practice websites for hacking? And I put them in the stream before.
Let's go. All right. I'm gonna put up the OWASP Vulnerable Web Apps Directory. This is where I go to look for the latest projects. I'm gonna put it in the chat, and then you can put it out in the on the YouTube stream.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is pretty cool right here, right there. So the OWASP Vulnerable Web Directory, right? They have plenty of vulnerable web applications, both offline and online, and you can have like the VM ISO as well too, to practice on. And you definitely want to check out, if you want to learn about different attacks, check out PortSwigger.
PortSwigger.
Yeah, so I'll put that in the chat as well too. So with PortSwigger, you can, let's see right here, PortSwigger. Right. So PortSwigger, they specialize in web application attacks. So using Burp Suite proxy, which is pretty awesome. I think I gave you the link to the software. Yeah, Burp. But yeah, Burp Suite is it's a web proxying tool that most web app hackers use in order to. So, for example, when you're hacking a web application, you want to map out the web application. You pretty much visit the website, but you put all of your requests through Burp, and and Burp has like built-in scanners and everything else where you can scan the website and say, "Hey, this is vulnerable to cross-site scripting," or "This is vulnerable to SQL injection," and then you go back and verify whether it's true or not by trying to manually, like, say, get like cross-site scripting to work, or see if you could do some type of SQL injection. So Burp Suite, it has a lot of bells and whistles that you can play around with, and you can also customize it too. If you have the Pro version, you can customize it either using Python, Ruby, or Java itself. So you can, it has an API and everything, so you can extend on that API and make it do some interesting things as well too if you're good with coding.
That's dope. So if you got a website if you have a website, this would be a good tool to pen test against your own website to see what's vulnerable on your website, what vulnerabilities.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yep. This is the main tool that a lot of web application hackers use, along with like the dir search and everything else. dir search is a tool that you run against the website itself to see what directories are out there as well too that you might not see with of course with burp, because burp you're actually going through the application manually. And I'll put dir search in the chat here. It's in a GitHub repository, so it's a web path scanner, by the way.
Okay. Now,
so you actually go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So the web path scanner, you pretty much scan it for like hidden directories and everything else. So it could be something like a .git directory that's in your web path that will show up within the scanner, and then you go to that .git directory. It might have some good juicy information in there, like database creds or usernames and passwords. Depends.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's real deep, right?
And
there.
Other things too.
Now these tools that we posted in the chat, the port swigger and the dir search. Do you need to run those on Linux, Kali Linux?
You can run them on. Burp Suite works on Windows, Mac, and Linux.
Okay.
So you can run it on either operating system. It doesn't matter. They have a client. They have a version for each operating system.
All right. Here's a question. Should you run these tools in a VM?
Yeah, you can run them in a VM or you can run them on your desktop. But usually Kali Linux, I usually run it in the Kali VM because Kali is designed for pen testing anyway.
Yeah. So when you download Kali Linux, you actually download an OVA, right?
Yeah, you can download the OVA or the ISO image and build it yourself.
How hard is it to build it yourself and put it on a laptop or whatever? Not
hard at all. It's just you going right through the menus.
Okay.
It's fairly simple. If you go to Kali.org, they have documentation on how to actually install Kali Linux step by step.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It's no problem.
All right, we got another super chat from Keep It Techie. He said, do you use BSD Unix or does BSD mean something else in your name?
Nope, BSD Unix. So I've been using I started out with FreeBSD. Well, actually open. I actually started out with OpenBSD 3.0, right? And that's when, you ever heard of pfSense?
Yes, the firewall.
So pfSense is derived from OpenBSD. OpenBSD, so I could take an OpenBSD operating system and configure the pf.conf and configure OpenBSD as a firewall, and it does the same thing as pfSense.
Okay. With
one configuration file. They first had it they started off with PF in OpenBSD 3.0. Before that, it was just IFWP, something like that, right? But then it went to PF and then PF.conf in OpenBSD 3.0. Then they ported it over to FreeBSD and Mac. If you go on your Mac in the man page, if you type man pf.conf, that will show up in your man pages on the Mac, because Mac is derivative of BSD.
Okay.
So you could do some cool stuff from the command line that won't show up on the Mac firewall.
Cool stuff on the command. Is that like when you when you enter a space and then enter your command, like it won't show up in your history? Are you talking about like that?
Yeah. So for example, right? If I wanted to block, say in PF, right? I'll go to the PF command line and I say block all from any to any. File save, restart the pf.conf file, restart everything, right?
Right.
When your Mac comes up, you're not communicating to the network. All you're going to see is that the firewall's on. You don't know what command's been ran. All you see that the firewall's on and is green, but you can't get out to the network.
That's deep. Hey, you did that to me, I'll be mad.
I don't recommend anybody try that, but it does work. But BSD Unix is very powerful. I still use FreeBSD to this day. FreeBSD 12.1. I started off with FreeBSD 4.8.
Wow.
Yeah. So I also worked on the it was this thing called Project Evil. Okay, so you remember the Linksys wireless cards, like the wireless G cards?
Oh yeah, that was a big deal back in the day.
Yeah. So they only worked on Windows, right? So in order for it was this project called Project Evil, which took the Windows binary for the Linksys wireless card, and you could run it on BSD. So it tricked the wireless card into seeing it as a Windows box instead of a BSD box, so you can get wireless on FreeBSD.
That's hacking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. That's what's up. All right. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I see the Chiefs is getting their head beat in. Shout out to all my Chiefs fans. It's 31-9 right now.
Beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
And we're having an awesome interview. I love life.
Man, it's amazing.
Yep.
Shout out to my guy, Deshaun Carter. He's tuning in. He's a software developer, cloud developer. He does a whole lot of interesting stuff. I would like to hear his viewpoint on security, and then y'all to have a conversation as well. That would be interesting.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm all for that.
How often do you work with like software architects and the software side of the house when it comes to securing applications?
Anytime that they want to work together.
Okay.
So I used to work at this company I used to work at E-Trade.
Okay.
And I'll plug here, like E-Trade helped me when it came to learning how to fix web applications. So we did web application pen testing, right? But if we found a bug, we had to work with the developer to help get it fixed. So that's what helped me get better with I found the cross-site scripting bug, but okay, how do you fix it?
Right.
Because that's the key, that's what makes a good penetration tester, red team, or application security person in general. Yeah, you found the bug, but how do you fix it? And you want to help the developers, show them how to fix it. Because that's how things work, or should work. Some folks, they'll find something like, oh, okay, yeah, I found it. You're on your own. But no, with E-Trade, you actually had to work with the developer to get it fixed and then retest it to make sure.
That's interesting. So what you're saying is that as a security engineer, security consultant, you actually let them know how to mitigate or how to resolve the bugs that they have in their code. Okay.
Yes. They don't pay me to hack. They pay me to report. Because it's all what's in the report, and you want to make the report as clear and precise as possible. And you want to say, hey, I found this badness here. Here's how you mitigate it, and here's the references of where I've got that. So if you need to go back to it, you can go to this as a reference in order to fix it. And of course, if you have any other trouble, of course, they can set up something, a different consultant or however you want to do it to go through the steps of fixing it. But in the report, we try to make sure that the steps are easy for the person, whoever has to fix it. Like it's a step-by-step process on how to fix and mitigate the bug that we found.
That brings up something that I never heard people talk about when you're writing these reports. So as a hacker, red team threat defense hacker, or red team threat hunter hacker, right? And you do these reports, right? And you do these reports. Do you have to know technical writing?
Technical writing helps. Yes, it helps tremendously.
Okay.
And I would say, like, here's the thing with reporting, right? The more you do it, the better you become at it, because you start seeing mistakes. And shout out to Red Siege. they've helped make me a better report writer. So again, with that, I look at it differently. So it's like, okay, Okay, the paragraphs look like this. Okay, the screenshot should look like this. Okay, what are you actually trying to say in this particular paragraph when you're describing a bug and how to fix it? So you look at different things of that nature. And plus, when you understand an attack, it's easier to write about it because you understand what the attack is supposed to do and how to fix it. So now it's a lot easier to write up that attack. Now, if you don't understand it, then, you might have to work on it, like look at some stuff and actually look at some different examples and whatnot. And there's nothing wrong with that, but the key is because you're not going to know everything. That's one thing I want to plug in. I don't care how long you've been in this industry. You're not going to know everything. It's impossible. I'm sorry. The curtain has been pulled back. Right. You're not going to know everything. There's always going to be somebody that either knows more or less. That's just how it goes. But there's no shame in that.
Right.
Only shame is quitting.
True story.
Yeah.
So does your reports have to be like peer reviewed? Yeah,
we do peer review.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that way they point out, hey, this sucks. Here's how you fix it. I don't mind anybody telling me something that I did sucks, but just tell me how I fix it.
Right.
That's the key. That's what I care about. Just show me how to do it better. That's it.
I want to keep going with that.
Yeah.
But I want to get to this super chat from Matthew Womack. Thank you for the super chat, brother. He says, what is the biggest threat on the horizon that cybersecurity professionals will have to contend with in the future?
The biggest threat? Wow. I would say people. I mean, just in general. I mean, I think it's important. I think all aspects, you got to worry about all the aspects. So, developers, are they cranking out secure code? Are they being security minded when they're cranking out the code? Because a lot of times, especially in the developer world, and I used to be a developer, so I know what it is. Mm-hmm. You get a deadline, you have to push that deadline. Now you're not thinking about coding it in a secure manner. You're just like, okay, does this work? Cool. Do they like it? Yes. Do they need a feature? Okay, I'll come back to that, but at least I have a working prototype. Right. That's all that matters. So you want to get your developers thinking in a more secure mindset when they're actually cranking out this code from a security standpoint. So I think that's important. Also think it's important, your first line of defense, your help desk or SOC in general. They see alerts or whatnot, and, you might have an inexperienced person in the SOC that might not know what that alert means or whatever else, and they might need a more senior level person to take a look at it. So then they escalate it. So, I mean, all moving pieces in tech will be a worry. That's just my personal opinion on that.
Right. So education is key across the board.
Yes.
In the organization.
Oh yeah.
What's up?
Oh yeah.
There's so many questions that I have around what we're talking about right now because, I'll save it. I want to get this question. Noel Wilson brought this up. Can you talk about fraud prevention? How big is that for a hacker?
Fraud prevention?
You know anything about that?
I'm not too much into that world, but that I'm not too deep in that. I'm not really versed in that world with fraud prevention. So
okay,
I'm the bad person. I'm the bad person to ask on that one. Right. Honestly.
What about forensics? Like when you
forensics, yeah. What about forensics?
So when you're a hacker, right, and you go in and you have to, I guess, I don't know nothing about it. With you being on the red team, you can kind of talk about it better than I can. But when you're hacking into these environments and you're, let's say, removing your tracks, you're deleting logs and all of that, is that something you have to do? And how does forensics play a role into that?
Well, a lot of attackers try to remove their tracks. Like, so for red team, like we do cleanup, like we clean up our exploit, or we clean up if we touch the disk, if we put anything on the disk or whatnot, we clean that up, Now, as far as like the forensics piece, I've only done like analysis.
Okay.
So I've only done like malware analysis and mainly threat hunting. But from a forensics piece, they dig a little bit deeper. They look more into what's going on in the memory of a machine or a VM in general, and see what occurred there, and what logs were left behind and everything else. So it's all about patterns. What I've learned about like with threat hunting and even malware analysis, or even and I'm pretty sure this holds true in forensics. It's all about patterns. What's actually going on within that machine? What happened? What time? And how does the malware function? Shout out to Understudy again. He said this amazing thing to me, and it was just like it clicked. He said, if I asked you, hey, you just received this link, would you click on it? He says most people would say no, they wouldn't click on it. And he says, why not? Why would you want to know? Wouldn't you want to know what the malware does and how it functions and everything else? You would want to click on it and know what's happening, because that's the job of an analysis. So yes, you want to click on the link. You want to see how the malware functions. You want to see if it's going out to an external site, a Chinese IP address. You want to know all of these things. So that's why I say that's important when you're dealing with like forensics in general. It's all about patterns.
Okay, we got to clarify that for those that may not understand.
Yeah.
He's not telling you to click on a link. He's saying if you're in forensics or you're a hacker, put that link in a VM or something.
Put it in a VM or a secure network environment that doesn't touch your production network.
Right.
I would say that. Yeah.
Monday they're gonna say Charles said click the link.
No, go back to the YouTube channel. He said it. You hear it right there.
We need to know what to do.
Yeah, 10 minutes into the cast, he said it. You hear it right there. So I'm good, right? Oh my goodness,
man, that's hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. All right, so kind of staying on that subject, when you have a link that you want to test and you put it in the VM, right? To kind of see what it does. Once you execute that link, do you remove that VM or do you continue using it? Like, how does that process work?
Well, you figure out once you've like done your investigation and you have everything in place and you've got your screenshots, your snapshots, pretty much.
Right.
Then you power down the VM, but you keep it. But you probably keep it in like offline storage. You don't power it up, but you keep a snapshot of it just in case, as you're going through your investigation, you have everything in place. It's no different when you're working on an error and you want to show somebody the error. You take a screenshot of it. It's the same process. Okay. It's just that it's a little bit more in depth when it comes to forensics because you really have to take snapshots of everything and really look at what's going on.
All right, now when you're testing out these links and you're building out exploits and things like that, right? And you have a VM set up,
right?
When it comes to configuring your VM on your device, should that be host only? Should it be bridge? Should it be NAT? How should you configure your networking on that VM so like your host machine doesn't get infected?
I personally would just put it on. I would put it on like. Why not put it on NAT? I'd NAT it. Why not?
Okay.
If you're in it, I would put my physical machine in a VM that I don't care in a VLAN that I don't care about. If I'm on the network, I'd put my personal machine in a specific VLAN, and that way, even if I NAT the VM, and if something gets a little bit crazy, it's only locked into that VLAN. It's not affecting anything else on the network.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So if you're hacking at home, you should, if you have the ability to create a separate VLAN on a switch or a separate network on your firewall and hacking that network.
Yeah, you could do that. But a lot of this stuff too, when you want to practice hacking in general, like if you're just practice like random hacking and whatnot, yeah, you got Hack the Box. But if you're focused on a specific application, then you might do something where you're putting that application in a VM by itself, and you're just playing around from within the VM from that local host.
Right.
So it just depends.
Okay. All right. I got a super chat from Roger Marine. Thank you for the super chat.
Okay.
The question is, will a felony conviction prevent him from getting a job? I just got a BS in cybersecurity with over 18 certifications. Salute to you, Roger.
Shouts to you, man. Yes. You said with a felony?
Yeah, will a felony conviction prevent him from getting a job in security?
A lot in some companies, yes. And it depends on what the felony was for too. So it depends on the job too. You just never know.
Okay.
You know, but in some companies they might be like, well, no, we don't hire felons, but then there's some that do. So it kind of depends on the company in general. You know.
How often do hackers get like convictions for learning how to hack? Is that common?
For learning how to hack?
Yeah, like
no, I haven't seen it where learning how to hack. Where people mess up, and I'm just gonna say people, when they start using a tool to do illegal things. Now, if you get out here and just say, okay, yeah, I know how to hack, but I'm just gonna attack this this hospital network.
Right.
Start messing with that equipment or stuff that you have no business being in. That's where people get in trouble, and that's where they mess up. But learning how to hack on your own systems that you have permission to hack on, no.
But what about those people that hack into companies and then they report to the company like, hey, you got this hole in your network, or you found this hole in your network? What about that?
What bug bounties are for? They have that's why companies do bug bounty programs, so you could test their application and then they pay you for it. That's where bug bounties and HackerOne come in.
Okay. How I want to think how to word this. So when it comes to bug bounties, how do you get involved in that? Do you need a team to do it?
No, you can be by yourself. You don't need a team. Like if you go to like Bugcrowd or HackerOne, they have different bug bounty programs for different companies, right?
Right.
Netflix has a bug bounty program where you test out. If you find a bug in their website, they probably pay you like $10,000 or something like that. Depends on the severity of the bug.
Nice.
So no, you don't have to have a team. You can be by yourself and do it.
Have you ever done a bug bounty?
I've tried. They're very difficult. Because somebody's either solved the bug or the bug hasn't been like that severe where I'm making like insane amount of money. Now there's some people that do, but I haven't.
So here's a question: since there's a lot of pre-made tools, when people find these bugs in, let's say Netflix or something like that, are they writing their own scripts and testing out?
They could be writing their own scripts. They could be manually testing for it. I mean, it just depends on how they go about doing it.
Okay.
And then also too, once they find a bug, they have to write up the report and then submit it. Yeah.
Okay.
This is where report writing comes in.
Report writings. So we know.
Yes.
I see Gabe in the chat. He said he's in the middle of a report right now. He writes all day in security. Are you the same way?
Yeah. Read, write. They pay me to report, not hack. Yeah.
Let's break that down.
That's where the money is. That's where the money is reported. Like you can hack all day and you find the bugs, but if you can't explain it to the client, then it's useless.
That's dope. So let's break that down. When it comes to what you do, how much of your job do you think is actual hacking?
I'd say 50% and 50% is reporting. I'd say 50-50. Because again, once you get on an engagement, like a lot of pen tests last like a week or 2 weeks, right?
Right.
And within those weeks or 2 weeks, you're actually just constantly hacking on whether it's the network or an application or mobile app, just depends. And then what I do mostly, I write the report as I go. So if I find a finding, I'm like, all right, cool. Screenshot, put a blurb on it, write it up. Then I continue on. Some people wait to the end and write all their stuff up, which is very difficult because you miss stuff. So usually I just write the report as I go. So that way when the end of the week or the end of the 2 weeks engagement comes up, I already have all my vulnerabilities written up. Now it's just going back and making sure that I have everything in the right place that looks good for the client and everything else, and it's client ready.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you were a software developer at one point.
Oh, yeah. Python. Yes. Very interesting time in life.
I have two questions around that.
Yes.
My first question is, do you need to know how to code to be a hacker? And my second question is, did coding help you when you transition to being a hacker?
No, you don't need to know how to code to be a hacker, but it helps. Like eventually you're gonna have to learn to read some code and maybe write a little bit of code. Now, programming, coding, whatever you want to call it, it helps you when you want to write your own applications, or you might find a bug that you want to exploit further and you write code around that. That's where it helps to know how to code.
Right.
But there's a lot of folks that hack, but they're not necessarily good coders. But they know enough to get around the application defenses or whatnot. So
dope. All right. So for everybody that's been watching, just tuned in, is going to watch this on replay. I'm here with Charles Shirer. He's the BSD Bandit on Twitter.
Ow!
Yep. Let me hear you say it, bro.
I get super that. Ow! Yep. That's me.
As you can see, he's energetic, he's positive, he's an inspiration. Follow him on Twitter. Every morning he puts out motivation to inspire hackers to be great. But he does more than that. He gives back. He helps the community. And one of the ways he does that is through live streams on Twitch. He does live hackings on Hack the Planet. So all of his contact information will be in the description of this video. He's been dropping a ton of jewels. So if you're just tuning in, please go back and watch the replay. Hit this video with a like. And if you have a question, please drop it in the chat at this time. We're going to spend about, let me see, how much time? You got about 25 more minutes, bro? You good on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if you all have questions, please drop them on the chat. Hey, what's your Twitch? Can you put that in the chat so I can share it out?
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely.
All right, thank you.
It's just BSD Bandit, but I'll put it out there.
Just BSD Bandit.
Yeah, Twitch, yeah. Twitch.tv/BSD Bandit.
All right, let me see if I can find that.
Yeah. Because I'm getting ready to really like ramp that back up too, as well. As far as like Blue Saturdays and everything else. Just been busy with a lot of different projects, so it's been a little bit difficult.
Can you talk about the Red Saturdays or the Blue Saturdays?
Blue Saturdays, yeah, definitely. So Blue Saturdays consist of me just actually installing like maybe a SIM or Splunk and playing around with the different configurations and actually doing a live threat hunt. I used to do that on Saturdays. Definitely going to fire that back up because and I did it live, so a lot of people have helped me through the configuration. I've gotten stuck live on air and have music playing in the background, and I'd stay on for like an hour or two,
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I've had fun doing that, so I definitely want to fire that back up this year. So that's what Blue Saturdays are. It's all about defensive and configuring like security configurations in general.
Okay. You mentioned Splunk and SIM. What is that?
Yeah. SIM. So SIM is just a log. It's more like a syslog on steroids. Pretty much. And Splunk is more so like a lot of people use Splunk to collect their logs.
Nice.
So say if their applications are logging, they're putting all their application logs, their operating system logs into like Splunk, and they have like the Splunk dashboard and everything else. Then they parse through the data to get the data that they're looking for in Splunk.
That's a whole like job title in the field, right? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what it is off the top. A lot of times they just say, "Hey, looking for a systems engineer that knows Splunk, that knows like pretty much, how to like use Elasticsearch or whatever else." So it's usually a combination that I see like that. But you're parsing through logs and you're gathering information and you're feeding it to a dashboard.
So
that's what a lot of
or
folks
something
do.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what it is.
Nice. Let's see. Here's a question from Sagan at Ajabe. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, my bad. All right. The question is, can you give a path for those that are just starting out in hacking and cybersecurity?
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So if you're just starting out, I would say, okay, seriously, I would look into web apps. I mean, web apps are pretty popular. If you want to start out and say like, and drop the title like cybersecurity, right? Whatever it is that you're interested in, start from there. Like I'm interested in web right now, heavy. I love web. I think it loves me. I don't know, but again, if you're a web developer and you're developing websites, look into web apps, like hacking web apps. Start out, and this is it's an old book, but it gives you some type of foundation. Came out in 2011. Web Application Hacker's Handbook is a good start. And then there's another book as well too. It's Web Application Security for Modern Web Apps, which is another good one. Web Application Security, Modern Applications. That's another good book as well too. So, and then of course you just have like if you want to do like Hack the Box or even VulnHub. VulnHub has several different like vulnerable web applications that you can test on if you want to get into that. Now, if your passion is wireless, say if you're into like, matter of fact, scratch that. If your passion is mobile phones, if you like rooting phones and jailbreaking iPhones, look into hacking mobile apps, right? It's like working with web apps. They bleed into each other, but you do different things. Like with mobile app, you can look at the operating system level and the mobile application level. Another book to help you get started with that would be the Mobile Application Hacker's Handbook. That gives you a foundation on hacking mobile apps. So if you're deep into like phones and you know all about phones and you want to learn about security and hacking in the mobile space, you can start there. So there's no set in stone path. That's what I'm trying to explain here. There's no real set path. It's whatever you're interested in. Jump in and learn as much as you can about it, and just start doing it. Just start going after look for different security vulnerabilities in whatever it is that you're interested in. Like, for example, I'm a retro gamer, right? A lot of folks, if they're into like, say, Call of Duty or whatnot, and you're deep into like gaming, figure out hacks for Call of Duty.
Right.
Learn if you really want to hack into the video game space, figure out different hacks for Call of Duty and different tips and tricks. And even you can even go as far as the security mechanisms for Xbox and PlayStation. Figure out how, try to see, look for, maybe they might have bug bounties for a PlayStation or Xbox, and look for security vulnerabilities within that operating system. It's whatever that you're interested in. Like, for example, my hobby is hacking keyboards. So building mechanical keyboards, and I'll put mine up to the camera here. This is a custom built mechanical keyboard that I built.
Nice.
That's my keyboard. So it's programmable, and each key is different. And you notice there's no numbers or anything, so that's what I type on. There's no numbers at all.
Wow.
And the different characters and everything else at the top here for keycaps. So yeah, I spend that as my hobby.
Nice.
So yeah. So I wanted to learn more about keyboards. So I started Googling around to figure out, okay, how to build a mechanical keyboard. So that's why I learned about like stabilizers and learned about like keycap switches, switches,
right,
like blue switches, green, cherry red, brown, and blue. So I learned, okay, which one makes the loudest noise? What's the best switches that are out there? And then from there, keycaps, are they programmable? Programming the keyboard with QMK programming language. So I can configure the space bar to be 4 mouse clicks if I wanted to.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's highly customizable, but I really enjoy like playing around and making like fun keyboards.
Is that only in Linux? Like, could you do the same thing in Windows?
You can do it with Windows. They have something. I think it's called Switch Hitter.
Okay.
Yeah, Switch Hitter in Windows. I use this program called VIA that works on Linux and Mac. So with VIA, it allows you to program your keyboard as well too. If you're not comfortable doing it from the command line, you can easily just like select the keys that you want it to do as well too, and you can add macros to it as well too.
Ah, man, that's cold.
Yeah,
that's cold.
So you can do a lot.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
I got a question from Noel Wilson. The question is Python programming paying six figures? It's not a stupid question, but basically, it's not.
No, it's not a stupid question. There's no stupid questions.
Right. Yeah. So the question is learning Python programming, will that pay you six figures?
Anything you learn can pay you six figures.
True story.
If you're really good at it. You know, Python is lucrative. There's a lot of Python jobs out there, and if you're good enough, you have a lot of like experience. Yeah, you can make six figures. But at the end of the day, six figures is good. But you know, make sure you like what you do. I will say that.
Right.
Make sure you like what you do.
Yeah.
You can make six figures doing anything, but if you hate it, it's gonna really suck. I'm gonna tell you right now.
That's so true. That is so true. I think you really dropped the jewel there, and I'd hope people are soaking this up. Basically, if it's something that you enjoy, and you said this throughout this interview, if it's something you enjoy, do that. Get really good at it, and you can make six figures. Is that?
Yeah. That's accurate. Yes. Six figures and more. Don't stop at six.
Don't stop.
Try for seven. Why not, right? Sky's the limit.
True story. True story. All right. Trillionaire 2021 said, what are your recommendations to stay anonymous on the internet?
To stay anonymous on the internet?
Right.
I mean, people use Tor. I mean, if you're trying to get into the dark web world, definitely study up on Tor protocols and see what's actually out there related to that. But as far as like anonymous, if you want to do anonymous search, just incognito. You can put that in incognito mode on Firefox or even I think Chrome as well too. And they do have different browsers. They have the Tor browser as well too. So if you want to be anonymous that way, that's an option.
So since we're
depends on what you're doing.
Since we're talking about being anonymous, what about VPNs? You see a lot of people with links to, I would say, IPVanish and all of these different VPNs. Are they worth it?
Depends on what you want to do. So, for example, if I'm doing a test, right, I'll fire up a droplet in DigitalOcean, and I'll funnel all my traffic through that, through SOX proxy. And then when I do a what's my IP, it shows the IP of the droplet and not my real IP. That's one way.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not really protecting your identity. It's not really protecting your privacy.
No, there's no privacy protection. You can't hide. You can't hide.
But they make it seem like the VPN hides you on the internet, hides what you do.
No, it doesn't hide what you do because, again, if police subpoena that particular company, they'll give you up. And it says that in the fine print when you click, yes, I accept.
Right.
So, yeah, there's no hiding.
Not even on the dark web, like with Tor and all that?
No, it's a little bit more difficult, but eventually you will slip up and get caught. You're human. You will slip up.
That's deep. That's deep, man. This conversation has been really eye-opening for the stuff that I've always wondered about because I'm not a hacker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you are. You are. Reason I say that, again, it's not related to computers. It's something that you're interested in, that you've made it work for you It could be sound. You can hack sound,
Right.
audio. Like it's tips and tricks that you've learned that somebody else might not know about, but you've pushed it to the limit to work for you.
Nice. You got a point. I'm a hacker. I'm about to get. You know what? I'm a hacker from now on. Yeah, I'm a hacker.
It's a mindset. Yes,
that's what's up.
It's a mindset. Mm-hmm.
Man. All right. Let me see. We got some more questions. Okay.
Yeah, ask away.
Here's a question from Lee Nico. I think this is a good question as well. It says, can you speak about diversity in cybersecurity and how minorities interested in cybersecurity and hacking can find minorities already established in the field to mentor them?
I can tell you right now, we need more.
Facts.
I'm saying it, Karen. We need more. And if you're interested, if you know somebody else is interested, come aboard. I don't care. DM me. You could, if you follow me on Twitter, DM me. I will help to the fullest extent. I don't care what it takes. Cause we need more. If you know somebody that's interested, say, hey, get yourself a Twitter account today. I'm talking like it's a sale right now. Get on here today, and get and we'll help you get started, man. This is what we do. I'm all about helping anybody that's trying to get into this field and actually learn and actually make something of themselves in this field. For sure.
We need more black people in IT, point blank. Whether it's cybersecurity, network engineering, software development, you name it, we need more.
Come on in.
Yeah.
It's room for everybody.
We need more awareness around the opportunities as well. So if you are in, let's say, the inner city, or if you are in an environment where nobody knows anything about the opportunities in tech, make sure you share that knowledge. Make sure you share those knowledge of how much you can not only make in IT, but how fun it can be in IT. How much you can really enjoy and network and do some really cool things in this industry.
Yep. You're talking to a kid from Yonkers, New York. Come a long way from apartment 9E.
I'm from Yonkers, son.
So if I can do it, you can do it. Okay?
That's what's up, man. Yonkers. I'm trying to
I had a lot of help along the way.
Yes, sir. Yonkers. Who's from Yonkers? Jadakiss, Styles P.
She Glutes, DMX, Mary J. Blige.
Okay. MOP?
Steven Tyler.
No,
from Aerosmith.
Yeah,
he's from Yonkers.
That's what's up. Yonkers in the building. Yo, have you got Hulu?
No, I don't have Hulu.
There's a Wu-Tang series on Hulu that's dope. It's about how RZA got started and how Wu-Tang got put together.
My wife probably put it on. I'll check to see if she even put it on there. She might have. I'm gonna have to check it out though. Yeah, man, it's really dope. One of the things I didn't know was that Ghostface and Raekwon was actually enemies. They was beefing like really heavy before Wu-Tang. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Learn something new every day.
Like I thought they became like best friends, but at the time they was beefing, and RZA was in the middle of it. Like they was really shooting at each other and stuff.
Oh man,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It happens.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, we're gonna take a couple more questions. So if you got them, please drop them in the chat.
Yeah. How we looking at the score?
Man, it's still 31-9.
Ooh, what quarter is it? Third or fourth?
Fourth. 4 minutes left.
Oh man. Oh wow.
Yeah, it ain't looking good.
Nah.
Brady about to have 7 rings, bro. Like
unbelievable.
7 rings. Like
woo!
If that ain't the GOAT, I don't know what is. You know, like you gotta respect that.
I do. Shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Brady, man. Shout out to Brady. But
man, shout out to you for what you're doing. I watch your YouTube channel all the time. So
appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
That's love.
So I shout out to you and what you're doing out here.
Yo, I'm gonna make sure that I support you as much as I can when you do these streams and you get back on.
Definitely, man. Definitely keep in touch. Everybody, you got my Twitter. My DM's always open. DM me. I'll definitely answer you back. Yeah. That's for sure.
And I do appreciate that, man. I do appreciate that. Your energy, online is the same offline, so I appreciate that.
Yep. In person, man. That's it. It's no different. No trick of the camera or anything else. You see me in person, this is who I am. That's it.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Oh, somebody did ask this question, and I want to ask.
Sure, yeah.
Ask this. DevSecOps. How does that apply to cybersecurity or hacking?
For what I've learned about it, right? Because on Detection's podcast, we interviewed this young lady named Stephanie Lewis, and if you got a chance, check her out on Twitter as she's SecCon202. I'll send that her Twitter account over to you as well too.
Okay.
But she taught me a lot about what DevSecOps is, and it's really more like on defensive side of the house, and I would call it defensive coding in a way, because again, you're learning about like with DevSecOps, you're learning how to like do defensive coding techniques, and how to like put a lot of security mechanisms within your code. From what I've learned of it, I've never been a DevSecOps person. That's her Twitter. She does a lot in the DC area as well. So she's put together a lot of good stuff. So yeah, definitely want to check her out as well on Twitter. Definitely give her a follow. She definitely got some good information.
All right, I put that,
especially on DevSecOps.
Yep, just shared it out.
I'll
make sure I got that in there right. 202. Oh, she from DC, Southeast. That's what's up. That's what's up.
She's originally from Detroit, but she lives out in DC now.
Okay, Detroit in the band.
Yeah,
that's what Gabe. From.
Yep.
Shout out to Gabe.
Shout out to that 313.
Shout out to B Rabbit.
Put your hands up and follow me.
Oh man, gotta love it.
Oh man.
Yo.
Classic.
Yes, classic. Look, we thank everybody for tuning in. I want to give a shout out to all of you for, if you're watching the game, tuning in. We hope that you were able to get some knowledge that you can apply to your life, apply to your skill set, and help you level up in whatever area that you're working on. Shout out to the moderators, Gabe, Deshaun, Keep It Techie, my cousin Dale, Get the Lane, everybody that tuned in. We really do appreciate you. All of the super chats, we appreciate those as well. And most of all, shout out to my boy Charles Shirer for coming on today.
Ow! Yeah.
Ah. Bro, like, we got to do this
Thank
again,
you for
man.
having me. Yes. Oh, yes, definitely, man. Definitely.
All of Charles' contact information will be in the description of this video. So please connect and follow him on Twitter, follow him on Twitch, check out his website, check out his podcast that he's on, and show him some love. If you got questions, he said hit his DM. So be sure to do that. Hey, brother, you want to take us out today?
Yes. I just want to say once again, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody that tuned in today. And whoever watches this video, just know that, again, no matter what you're going through, if it don't challenge you, it don't change you. And if nobody's rooting for you, I'm personally rooting for you. I don't have to know you to root for you and want you to win. And again, give me a shout whenever you can on Twitter. I live on the internet. I just come out into the physical world for air.
I love that. I love that. And on that note, if it don't challenge you, it don't change you. Much love.
That's right.
Peace.
Peace.